What is going on, everyone? Stevo Supremo here again, and I am just another game collector. And today we are talking about the rarest items in my collection, or what I believe are the rarest items in my collection. We also have by our side here Chocolate the Bunny, my daughter's bunny here, helping out once again, showing off the items. So, what do I mean by the rarest items in the collection? It does not necessarily mean the most valuable. Sometimes things can have a high value, but they're not really rare at all. Like, look at some of the Pokemon games. Those things just, some of them are extremely valuable, yet there's millions of copies of them out there. What I mean is something that I truly believe is like limited in quantity, not a whole lot of people will have. That's what I mean by rare item in the collection. So here's three items that I pulled out for you. And then I'll let you guys kind of guess what order we're going to go in what I believe is the rarest thing to me to the least rarest. But we'll start with the least rarest first, at probably number three. We'll get that started off right here over at the TurboGrafx 16 CD attachment. Yes, this is something that you could go to conventions all across the nation and you probably would not even see one of these for sale at the convention. Maybe if you go to one of the bigger ones like SoCal, you might see one. But the TurboGrafx CD 16 CD attachment is just something you do not see. It just does not pop up. And from the little research that I was able to find on it, like how many were produced, one of the first things that popped up that said there were about 500,000 of these possibly shipped worldwide, with only 20,000 of those units making it to North America. So if you think about only 20,000 of these units making it to North America, and then you probably cut that in half by how many have even survived throughout all these years. I mean, you're talking something that could be extremely rare, even if lower quantities than that. Or maybe those numbers are all wrong that I'm looking up on online. But still, this is just something that you just don't come across. I was lucky enough to get one earlier this year, or was it last year now? I forget when I did. Or yeah, it was. We're in 2025. Last year at the beginning of the year, I bought a bunch of consoles from a guy, and it had this attachment on it, and it works like a charm. It works great. And yeah, I just got to get a TurboGrafx. I still don't have a CD-based game yet to test out and play on it. I got some TurboGrafx 16 games that I picked up, but not a CD one. I was only able to test it out with a music CD to make sure that it works. So need to get on it and get a game for it to check out. But yeah, I believe it's an extremely rare thing and one of the rarest items in my collection. Now, moving on to number two is this Persona 4 Golden, not because it's graded or anything. This is a copy that I did get graded because it was sealed, but mainly because this is from the limited collector's edition. If I flip it on over here, you can see it's from the premium, the solid gold premium edition pack-in. And with this, there's only 10,000 of these that were produced. Only 10,000 of those premium editions were produced. And you're probably like, Steve-O, why in the world is this not in its box? Well, there's a story with that. Last year, I bought a Vita collection from a good friend here in the next town over. And this was part of his collection. And unfortunately, guys, I know it's going to be painful to say, but close your ears. He is a guy who didn't have a lot of room, so he would unbox his collector's editions and throw the box away. I know, get your pitchforks out. Unfortunately, that is what he had to do with his stuff. And no, he wasn't a kid or anything, same age as me. And yeah, he just kept the games, and he would keep the statues and all the little trinkets, but he would get rid of the box. So that is why we do not have the box. Now, what makes this stand out from the original copy? I have no idea. I have no idea. I cannot, because I got rid of my open copy because this was a sealed one. I was like, yo, I'll keep the sealed one. So I do not know what the difference is on the case or anything of the actual games here, if you can tell the difference. But again, with only 10,000 ever made, that is like an extremely low count, low number item. I know a lot of times there's like limited run games used to do a low print count on a lot of games and stuff, and things could be numbered on different collections. So I think anything under like 10,000 is pretty rare. Again, it might not be the most valuable thing, but number wise, I mean, it's just a pretty rare item. So that definitely had to take the number two spot. And down here at number one, we'll make some room for this because this was a recent pickup a couple months ago. Is this Banjo Tooie not for resale? I picked this up at the local convention here that we have in my area every at least twice a year. And I was a vendor at it this past, was it November when we had it or October? I want to say November. And in November, this guy, he was another vendor. And while walking around at the beginning of the show, I noticed he had this game, not for resale. But there's something special about this game, and those of you who are keen-eyed have probably already picked up on it. You notice this little hole in the top of the game. Well, that's because the Starlight Children's Foundation had these kiosks that they would put in hospitals. And I forget what type of hospitals they would take them to, if it was like cancer wards or something like that. But something for kids who were going in there. They could sit down and play games while they're sitting in their beds or in their hospital beds and stuff like that. Really cool idea and foundation. One of those kiosks were actually up for sale in my area about a year ago now. And I was going to be on the way to pick it up for $500, and then the guy like sold it out right from under me. So still have nightmares about what happened with that one, because this would have been cool to pair with it. But you're like, how can you guarantee that this was part of that system? Well, you see the little screw hole there. That is a key indicator that it was part of one of the Starlight kiosks, because that's how they would attach the games to it. There'd be a chain, then something would go through the hole here so the game wouldn't get stolen or anything from it. But more importantly, the big evidence is on the bag. Here is the sticker saying that it was from the Starlight Fun Center thing. So really awesome to come across this. He had originally wanted $80 for this game. It went, $100 for the game, sorry. It went through the whole show and nobody bought it. And at the end of the show, he knew I wanted it, and he's like, hey, how about $80 for it? I said, sure. Because the not for resale copy of Banjo Kazooie here, or Banjo Tooie, sells for $100 around about. So $20 off the not for resale price, and it is the Starlight version of it. I mean, this has got to be the rarest item in my collection. You just do not see stuff like this all the time. I doubt there's even 1,000 of these roaming around out there in the wild. You can see not for resale ones of Banjo Tooie, but the Starlight version, yeah, that's got to be one of the most extremely rare things that I've ever owned or ever come across. Again, value-wise, I don't know what type of number you put on something like this, because what's the desired nature of it? Do they just see it as a not for resale? Does the Starlight system give it an extra bump or anything? And he actually had a controller that went with the kiosks too, but there really was no difference in the controller except the sticker on it, so I kind of passed on that. So what do you guys think? These are the 3 items I picked out that I believe are the rarest items in my collection. What are some of the rarest items you own? Again, it's not a value thing, it's just more of its actual rarity. So let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.